Hi, I hope this doesn't scare you, but let's take a look at what we can expect with the crypto market because I see the sentiment all over the place right now. Some people are screaming for 200k Bitcoin, some people are screaming for a 70k Bitcoin. Maybe both are true. Let me show you what I think is going to happen, and more specifically, what's maybe going to happen if that happens to our altcoin bags. Because to be honest, what happens to Bitcoin, I don't really care. I'm not a Bitcoin holder at this stage of the market. I'm more of an altcoin holder. But if Bitcoin does go to 70k or so, right? If it does, will that demolish our altcoin bags? Let's find out. Welcome to the Fomo Factory. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. Check out the Alpha Factory exclusive Discord down below for a lot of exclusive content. Let's get right into it. So first thing, Bitcoin is at a stage right now where there is some resistance. If you draw this line, it's not quite perfect over here, but still it kind of makes sense that we got rejected right there. Now, I don't want to make this video longer than it needs to be. It's almost Christmas. You want to celebrate life with your family. I want to show your family how much money you didn't earn this year again. But I do think it's important to have a little perspective on the market. First thing, am I scared at this moment? No, I'm freaking bullish. But there's always the question like, hey, in the meantime, can we go down before we go up? I made a lot of videos showing you why I think we go up way higher than where we are right now. So I don't want to go too much over that. But I do want to show you like, hey, are altcoins kind of fucked if Bitcoin now takes a heavy correction? Now, the first question is, of course, is Bitcoin going to take a heavy correction? Well, first thing, you just saw the line. That's one. Makes sense. Two, if you look in this stage of the market, I hope I don't need to explain this community why I am looking at 4-year cycles at this moment. But 4-year cycles are pretty much still intact. So if we go back 4 years and if we go back 8 years, let me put it on the log scale so you can see it a little bit better. If we go back 4 years and 8 years, then we get to this point, give or take. So what happened in this stage of the market? Well, this stage of the market right here, Bitcoin had a correction in January, January, give or take, of about 30%, right? Now, if we go to the cycle before that, it happened right here, right? Also in January. And there, Bitcoin had a correction top to bottom of 34%, right? So that's two. Bitcoin already sit at that big level. Two, in this stage of the market, both last cycles, Bitcoin had an equal kind of correction. That's pretty coincident, right? So it could be, in my opinion, that we see such a correction right now. Also, what I noticed is that if you look at the FIB extension right here, and you put it over this cycle, then we kind of got rejected at the 1.618. We wicked a little above it, but we didn't really close above it yet. So that's also a thing. Plus, on top of that, around 100K, pretty psychological level, right? So it could be that we get a rejection right here of around 30%. 30, 35% is what happened last cycle. So if we take that from the top, 30% would put us at 74K. Now, not really weird, because that's also where we found resistance for months before we broke out. If we go at 35%, then it's 70K, right? So that's this whole area. Now, it's kind of that this whole area was already big resistance. We broke out. We never retested as well. So look, I'm not preaching that we are getting this correction, but I do find a lot of reasons for it, right? And that's not a guarantee. Again, that's not a guarantee. But if it happens, then we can look back at this and be like, whoa, this was pretty obvious, actually, right? Also, bull market support band kind of comes in over there, right? It's already a little bit higher, and by the time it might happen, it's already a little bit higher as well, so that might offer some support to us. Now, what's also interesting, that if you look where Bitcoin is sitting right now, we're now at the 8-week SMA. That's exactly where we are right now. Right, so that's $95,000. That should be the level that we kind of must hold. And chart wise, I do think that 92 is more important because that's where we had this support right here. However, if we really break that, then the 20-week SMA is kind of the next level, and the 20-week SMA is at the moment sitting at $76,000. Right, so that's also a level that's sitting here around this area. So there is a lot in that area that says like, hey, we matter, right? So that's for Bitcoin, okay? Now, then again, if we use our brains, is it weird? Well, Bitcoin just kind of had a run from this low until this high of 122% in half a year. What's a 30% correction after that? Right? You should also not forget there's not a single bull market where we did not have a 30% correction at least a couple times. So why not once in this one? Okay. Plus all the things that I've just showed. So for me, it is, again, this is not that I sit here and like, okay, I open my shorts or I sell everything or whatever. But I am sitting here like, okay, if we get a 30% correction, I wouldn't be the last one that's surprised. I can already tell you guys, though, that if that happens, the sentiment is going to be fucked up. Look, like, I mean, Bitcoin just went from 108 to 92, and the sentiment was already terrible. Then again, yeah, price-wise, it's a big correction. But, like, actually, if you look at how much percentages it was, it's not, right? And that's just because Bitcoin is way higher. Like, at a certain point in a couple of years, whatever, Bitcoin will be sitting at $1 million. Then we can see corrections of 100K. Yeah, if we get that today, it will be a little weird, right? But that's all relative, of course. But overall, so far, this has been a 15% correction. People are already scared about this. So if you now see people on Twitter, on YouTube, saying anything to kind of scare you or show concerns about that correction, my best advice, block them. All right? If they cannot handle a 15% correction in a bull market, then they are simply not made for crypto, and they for sure should not take an influencer kind of job in this, okay? Because, come on, okay? I don't need to explain why, right? Again, a 30% correction, a lot of people will scream that the world is over and it's broken and it's different and we top out early and blah, 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 blah. Again, look at the previous cycles. There's not a single time where it didn't happen, okay? It's completely normal. So that's the first thing I would really want to prep into this channel. Like, it would suck. It would feel like it's over. The sentiment would change, but it is not a bad thing. Actually, if you still have money, it's a good thing. Because also, if you take a look at the last cycles where we had some corrections, look, I mean, Bitcoin, I don't know if this was exactly 30% or whatever, but if you look at this correction, this was 21% correction. If anything, you know, look, I mean, of course, it was eventually great if you bought it here as well. But if you bought Bitcoin for 12K and you rode it to 70K, nice. But if you bought Bitcoin at 9K and you rode it to 70K, a lot more gains. So it's in fact an opportunity. It's not a bear market, right? In a bear market, when you see these kind of things, yeah, then you want to be concerned, okay? But there are too many reasons to believe that it's not a bear market. And in all honesty, I do not see a reason to believe why it is a bear market. I mean, does it look like a bear market to you? So let's go to altcoins, because again, I think that most people in here are more degen and they don't really in this stage of the market care much about Bitcoin. So what could altcoins potentially do if Bitcoin takes that hit? Now, this is quite interesting. If you look at the last stages of the market where we had that correction, right? And let me see if I get them at the right place. So here, correction started, and here, the correction started. Now, we can take a look at the Bitcoin dominance, right? To see how altcoins did on their Bitcoin pair. It's not really a honest picture actually, because if Bitcoin gets converted to USDT, the Bitcoin dominance also goes up actually. So let's take a look at altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, right? What happened here? Bitcoin had that correction, and altcoins on the Bitcoin pair, they went up, right? They went down before the correction actually, right? In 2016. This cycle here, when Bitcoin corrected, altcoins on the Bitcoin pair went up. They had the correction before the Bitcoin correction. What do we see right now? I mean, Bitcoin, like we already went down here, right? Before the correction. It's kind of repeating, actually. It's kind of repeating. It's funny. We went down, Bitcoin now is correction, and we are higher, right? Like, yeah, we just went down this a little bit, but still we're up, right? So it's kind of the same, actually. Now, worst case, well, not worst case, but like let's try to be a little cautious. If Bitcoin goes to $70,000, how could altcoins look like? Well, let's take a look at altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, right? And then we get to altcoins on the dollar pair. But if you don't understand this, then it's hard to understand what Bitcoin on the dollar pair might do, right? So let's just lock in the assumption that Bitcoin goes to 70K. Again, I'm not saying that it will, but hey, it's good to have a worst case scenario in mind, right? Let's say Bitcoin goes to 70K. Okay, first thing, altcoins on the Bitcoin pair, they are not looking bad, okay? When you look at the 4-year cycle, then you can see that, hey, in after Christmas, actually, we got an alt season, right? This cycle, after Christmas, we got an alt season. It's almost freaking Eastern right here. So we got an alt season. So one, the people that now say like, oh, where's that alt season? Well, I mean, if you look closely, we weren't supposed to get it really yet. I mean, this stage of the market is what I've been calling for an alt season. Yeah, that it didn't happen exactly last month. I don't feel like I'm wrong about that, because I feel like it could happen in January as well, or February, right? Like that's what happened last cycle. But we should always, accept the fact that cycles don't exactly repeat by the day, and that it could be here and it could be here, right? Like, but this area right here. But if you look at this and people say like, well, the alt season not gonna look again. We weren't supposed to get it yet, right? That's not what happened last cycle, and it's not what happened the cycle before that as well. So it's not weird. It's not weird. And if you look what altcoins did in this period, right? So we take it from mid 2023 until like kind of March, April 2024, right? Look what altcoins did back then. That's this. Mid 2023, altcoins were kind of sitting at the lows until March, April 2024 was this mid-cycle high. This was a period where altcoins kind of went parabolic, right? The first real move in altcoins after the bear market, where altcoins, like this is the top 125, excluding the top 10, but the relative high caps did already a 5x, right? Some low caps, we had 10x's all over the place, right? That's what happened during this move, where altcoins outperformed Bitcoin by, I don't know, man, a little bit, right? And was that weird? I don't know. Look what happened. I mean, we had the top, we went down, mid-cycle rally, bottom area, right? Now, what happened here? Top, down, mid-cycle rally, bottom area. And here we didn't really came from a top because altcoins weren't back down here, right? But we went here, mid-cycle rally, bottom area, right? So also that's normal, right? But during this, relative small outperformance, I mean, this was definitely not that kind of alt season or that kind of alt season. But during this relative small outperformance for altcoins kind of exploded, right, on the dollar pair. So that's really interesting. Now, why did that exactly happen? Well, that happened because Bitcoin did well, right? Bitcoin went from 30K to 40, yeah, let's say here 70K, actually at the exact top, 40 to 70K, right? So Bitcoin went up a bit, and altcoins started to outperform Bitcoin a bit. And that made that combination was like on the dollar pair for altcoins very good. Now, we are sitting here at around the bottom. This is alt season area, right? And again, if it happens today, next month, in maybe 3 months, could be, I think Q1, we will make this move. Now, let's say we just go back to this previous top. And for the people that wonder, is that my prediction? No, I'm pretty convinced that we will go way higher than this. But let's say first we go back to this top, right? We go there. While Bitcoin is going down all the way to $70,000 in that 35% correction. Here, yeah, and it was even here, by the way. So let's say we only have to go down, only have to go up here, right? Here, Bitcoin was sitting at 70K. All right, so let's say Bitcoin goes back down there and altcoins go back up here. Then we are sitting at the same situation as, April 2024, right? So, and again, if we then take a look at the altcoin market and we go back to April 2024, what you notice, that's kind of where we are right now, even a little higher, right? So that would mean that even though Bitcoin goes down to 70K, altcoins don't go down, they go up. Is that weird? Well, again, if you take a look at Bitcoin in the last cycle, right? In the last cycle, where Bitcoin had that 30% correction, if you overlay the altcoin market, what happened right here? Altcoin market went actually up, right? Because altcoins went up harder on their Bitcoin pair than Bitcoin did go down on the dollar pair, which made altcoins go up on the dollar pair actually. That was the click for people, right? Because altcoins got wrecked on their Bitcoin pair for a long time. Just as now, let's now talk about now, right? Altcoins get wrecked on the Bitcoin pair for a long time. So when Bitcoin now goes up, people feel like, yeah, but my altcoins are not going up that hard, right? And now when Bitcoin goes down, altcoins go down harder, right? So people feel like, fuck altcoins. Whatever I do, altcoins always go to, you see these tweets, right? Bitcoin goes down, altcoins go up. Bitcoin goes up, altcoins go down, or altcoins go down. Every kind of situation is, doesn't matter what happens in the market, altcoins go down, right? That's the sentiment right now. Well, let's say that this plays out again, right? What we just described, then it would be the other way around. Then Bitcoin now goes down, but altcoins go up. And people feel like, wow, let's be in altcoins because they are now finally outperforming Bitcoin. And that's kind of what happens when we are down here, right? That would make people, that would change the sentiment because people are now very bearish on altcoins and they don't like it and they say it's over. What do you think they said over here or here? I mean, yes, that's part of it if you are at the bottom, right? So that would make people believe a lot in altcoins again. Then when Bitcoin starts going up again and altcoins keep outperforming Bitcoin, that's where it completely flips, right? And again, that's what happened last cycle as well. If you look at altcoins on the Bitcoin pair, if you overlay that, the purple line, right? Here Bitcoin went down and altcoins went up on the Bitcoin pair. But then Bitcoin started to go up and altcoins also went up on the Bitcoin pair. So that's where altcoins on the dollar pair really exploded. And I think really that we are in a very similar situation right now, right? And a lot of people don't believe it because it doesn't feel like that, right? Again, I understand. It also didn't feel like that over here. And it also didn't feel like that over here. But the market is not gonna give you both, right? The market is not gonna give you the best opportunity ever and the most comfortable feeling with it as well, right? The best opportunities are mixed with the worst feelings, right? Because the best feeling is here. This is not the best opportunity to buy, right? This is the opportunity. So that's the other way around, of course. So the more shitty everything feels, the better the opportunity is. And I actually feel that the opportunity feels really shitty right now for a lot of people. They don't believe it. They don't believe it. And that's what you should take advantage of. So again, what happens on the day doesn't really matter, right? Because there are also some people, they look at the Bitcoin dominance and they were like, well, you know, Bitcoin went down, but the dominance also went down. Altcoins got wrecked harder. Yeah, if you look on the daily, that could be definitely the case, right? Because the cycle doesn't follow the last two cycles day by day by day. But overall, or it went up, by the way, this example. But overall, the cycle is repeating pretty nicely. So I am very, very, very hopeful. Now, what would be the trigger for this macro-wise? Well, maybe next month the FOMC announces that we go into QE. Maybe in February. Could be, I don't know, right? But that so far always got that went together with Altseason, right? It's not a guarantee that we need that to get an Altseason. I think Altseason is just cyclical, and the narrative that you want to give it is maybe QE. But that's how it happened last time. So again, cycle-wise, if we are not seeing altcoins being fully bullish right now, that's okay, that's fine, right? Like, again, that's the last cycle also at this stage of the market, what didn't happen. And that was actually the greatest buying opportunity. And again, things can change very, very, very fast, all right? I really want you to know that. Here, when we were sitting low, people gave up on altcoins. But here from November until the top, also in November, sentiment did a 180. Well, this happened in half a month. Basically, right? Well, in a month, right? But it can change like that fast. And the charts, again, can change that fast as well. If I look at my prediction for the altcoin market next year, it's going to be like pretty bullish. I showed this a couple times. But if you look at the altcoin dominance, right? So Altseason or no Altseason, and you put that on a quarterly chart, 3 months, right? You can see that we are in this parallel channel since 2017. And it goes back here as well, right? And we just bounced off of it. Beautiful. But when were the biggest gains? Q1 2021. Q1 2017. 180% gain, 90% gain. Now, there's a way of measuring. I mean, like, is it diminishing? Or can you take an average? I mean, diminishing returns money-wise, yeah, I believe in that. But how the money flows from Bitcoin into altcoins and on the other way around, that's always completely mixed up, I think. So you could say that, you know, it's an average, right? So we have 190 plus 90 is 280, average 140, I think, from the top of my head. So let's say from Q1, we do 140%. Let's take it from this level, right? 140 is here. Yeah, 25%. Well, it's well within the range, right? So that could definitely happen. Worst case, for that quarter, at least, it's diminishing, right? So we have 180, we have 90. Let's say this time we have 45, right? And 45 takes it to around this whole area right here. Right? Now, even that's really bullish, right? Because that would mean like 15% of the total market. Well, the total market is now sitting well over 3 trillion, right? So 15% of that is 450 billion. For now, 450 billion is not that far in the altcoin market from where we are right now, right? That's kind of going back to this top right here. But the total crypto market is not going to stay here, of course, in a bull market. It's not going to run flat. This is going to go up as well. As a matter of fact, if you look at this, at the total crypto market, I'm actually pretty bullish on the market still, because we had this all-time high in 2021. We retested, or we broke out, we retested, and we're still above it, right? So that 15% worst case, really worst case scenario, in my opinion, for Q1 is a lot of money actually for the altcoin market if this thing goes up just to maybe here or even slightly higher, right? So my trajectory for Q1 is super bullish for altcoins. Don't come at me if it turns out that January fucking sucks, okay? Because guess what? Q1 also has 2 more months. So of course it could be that January is flat, bearish, or a little bullish maybe, and that Feb and March compensate for that. I think at the end of February, at the end of March, we can look at this and be like, okay, was this a smart thing to expect or not? I'm a cycle guy. I believe that, we don't have to repeat exactly what happened here or what happened here. But 2 fat green candles, yeah, it seems a little weird to me that we are now getting a red one, right? Like that I don't know exactly. Could this quarter end up being red? Yeah, it could. I mean, it's now really undecided. We had a wick to the upside, wick to the downside. It's nicely in the middle right now. Look, I mean, last cycle, we had a red candle before that green candle in this quarter. And the cycle before that, we had a red candle as well, right? Now, I must say, we got a green candle over here, really big one. Maybe because the candle before that was really red, right? We got a real big green candle here because this one was really red. We didn't had a really, so far, maybe in the next week we get a fat, like the dominance, moons and etc. But I don't know. We'll see. But I honestly do think that Q1 is going to be a really good quarter for altcoins, and that's where alt season is going to happen. And again, I also, based on what happened in the last 2 cycles, my outcome would be, look, and I'm going to be wrong, okay? So don't blame me, but so far it is playing out. So there's a good chance that it will keep on playing out. My trajectory is, there's a good chance Bitcoin goes to 75K or in that region. Altcoins don't really bleed at that stage. The dip will be short. Like here, wasn't that long of a correction. Here it was also not that long of a correction. Then once Bitcoin goes up, altcoins go up really hard. And that Q1 is going to be the alt season quarter. So that's kind of my expectation. Well, my expectation, it's not my, it seems the most logical outcome for now. So if anything, have a little money on the sideline if this all happens. If we go down here, it's not bearish, it's not over. People will feel like it. But again, I mean, we went up, we had a lot of struggles, we broke out, retest, go up. It's not a weird pattern if it plays out like that. Okay, so that's it for today. I want to leave it here. Thanks for watching. Have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy life, touch grass, snow, whatever it might be. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.